I was 9 years old the first time that I felt attraction. This girl was older, taller, confident, and man, I was captivated. Not in a childish way, but in a full body, soul cracking obsession. I didn't have the words for it then, but I knew what I felt. I loved women. I loved the feminine. I loved the chaos. I loved the beauty. I loved the mystery. I loved women long before I ever knew just how badly I was going to fuck it all up. But of course, she was the older sister of a friend, and nothing happened. Okay, here comes grade five. New school, new town. I'm a new face in the crowd. I fell in love again instantly with a girl called Renee, and this time it broke me. She found out. They all did. My crush became public humiliation. I was laughed at, I was teased, I was ripped apart in front of the class, and that day burned something into me that loving women was dangerous, that showing interest would cost me everything. So I learned that desire wasn't safe, so I locked it down. I started playing nice, I kept quiet, and that silence followed me for years. High school hits and the same pattern cemented. New school, fell in love again, beautiful girl called Amy, said nothing, did nothing, felt everything. And over time, I became the gay best friend in the hot girl circle. Not gay, just stuck, hoping proximity would earn me love. Thinking that if I stayed close, smiled right, acted sweet, they'd eventually want me, eventually show me that they desired me. I didn't know it then, but I was being neutered by my own strategy. I was being seen, but never chosen. I was always the guy the hot girls complained to about the stud that they wanted, but who wasn't paying them attention. I was the shortest guy in school. No one ever told me that girls don't like short guys really that much. And so I didn't work, it never even factored in. So I didn't even have a story to protect me. It was just confusion. Why didn't these girls like me? Why didn't they see me? I watched them go for all the other guys, the dumb ones, the assholes, the jerks, and I started getting angry. Quietly, I started to hate myself. I started to believe that there was something broken in me. I started to feel invisible. I developed insecurities, body image issues, and narratives that made my own eyes water. And the rejection hardened. I started trying to fix the outside, get better looking, be nicer, but it just made it worse. Girls would talk to me and then disappeared. Some of them even liked me, but then I froze. My fear of rejection and the fear of what happened kept me paralyzed. My identity was collapsing and I didn't know who I was anymore. So what did I do? I turned to rebellion. What smoking weed, drinking alcohol, and then harder drugs, and I numbed the pain with chaos. I blew up my own life before I even had one. I was getting suspended at school, getting in trouble with the law, picking fights, bullying people, expressing all this inner rage that I was experiencing. And then after high school, I moved out for the first time with my first real girlfriend and her best friend. And my best mate, and it felt a bit like freedom, like I'd finally cracked the code. But then she cheated on me with another really good friend of mine. She gave me the only STD I'd ever had, and she shattered what little faith that I had in women or in myself. And I got more angry, not just at her, but at the whole world. I decided the only answer was to try harder. I thought that I had to become more impressive, more generous, more helpful, more rich, more performative. It only pushed them further away. So I moved, at 18 or 19, I moved overseas for a while, Canada and Europe. I was running away from myself and I saw beautiful women everywhere, but very few of them saw me. I thought hot guys had it easy and that women made the first move for them. So I kept waiting and nothing changed until I met a 28-year-old single mother who just made me her sex toy. I was 19. She had a 12-year-old son. I mean, he was not much younger than me. I fell in love with this older woman like a fool, and she just wanted my body. I didn't know it then, but I was still seeking approval and confusing attention for love. Then after time overseas, living overseas, I came back to Australia. I started working in a nightclub. There was this really cute bartender working there that I fell for. Gorgeous, cute little girl. Usual pattern started to happen. I was extra nice. I fantasized about her. I got ahead of myself emotionally. I imagined a life with this girl. I started walking her home and talking to her and being nice. And I thought I was building something real, something authentic. I thought she was going to see the real me. And I think in the beginning she even liked me, but I never pulled the trigger. I never told her about my desires. I never made a move. I just tried to be even nicer, waiting for her to lead me into the relationship. One night after work, she disappeared, and the security guard bragged at after work drinks that he'd fucked her in the bathroom, and he came in waving her underwear around like a trophy. I was crushed. I was confused. I was furious. I'd done everything right, and she chose the asshole. And that moment, it broke something for me. A question I couldn't answer. Why do these good girls choose such fucking bad assholes? So after that, I left the small town and I moved to Sydney, the big, fast city. I thought a fresh start would fix me. I was a little country boy, young, with zero game, zero style, insecurities, bad clothes, no money, and a deep belief that women were shallow for not seeing my worth. I didn't realize I wasn't a good guy, which I thought I was. I was a naive, weak young man trying to hide behind decency. I still chased beauty like it owed me something. I got with some absolute stunners and I had lots of relationships over the time, but every single one of them was luck. It was brute force. Or they saw an attractive man beneath my uncool exterior and beneath my self hatred. I had no understanding of attraction, no control, just flashes of pleasure before it all slipped through my fingers. I felt empty. I felt powerless, more confused than ever. And girl after girl, relationship after relationship made me hate myself more, and the pain hurt. I had to numb it. The anger built up. I started breaking shit, literally. I got arrested one night for smashing windows. I hated women. I hated successful men. I hated myself more, and I couldn't figure out why I was still invisible, why women didn't stay, why the guys I judged were winning. But I was still sending women 3-page needy text messages explaining myself and why they should love me. The self-hate got louder, so I drowned it in weekend benders of ecstasy, booze, and dirty nightclubs, and hoping that darkness would deliver me what I so desperately wanted. It was the only thing that made me feel alive. Parties, drugs, girls all around, but it was all just noise. I'd sleep with some 5 and I'd feel nothing, just more proof that I was still failing, that no matter what I did, I wasn't the one. I wasn't it. I wasn't worth it. So now in my late 20s, I started landing some real jobs, management roles, senior positions, power, authority, status. Finally, I thought this will fix it. I worked at a charity with hundreds of pretty young, decent women around me. And nothing, still no interest. I started taking it out on them. I got cold, short, resentful. They didn't owe me a thing, but I was furious at being successful didn't buy desire, that the hot ones still gave their energy to men who didn't deserve it. And one guy in particular, he lit the fire. He was a smarmy, self-centered, rule-breaking jerk. He came in to the company I'd been at for years and he broke the company culture. He did whatever he wanted, and within weeks he was fucking the exact women that I'd spent years building rapport with, waiting for them to show me the signs, waiting for them to take the lead, waiting for them basically to put a neon sign on their head saying, yes, Dan, take me out, waiting for the risk-free, perfect moment to make moves with these women, waiting for the moment to put myself out there. I was waiting, building rapport, being nice, being kind. And he just came in and took them all within a couple of weeks. One of these girls even cried to me about how this guy was treating her and then went and fucked him again. And I asked him how, and he just smirked and said, I'm ranked number 1 on RSVP, bro, and showed me his profile picture, which wasn't even that good. And this was 2007, before Tinder, before Hinge, and before I even knew what game meant. And that line haunted me, ranked number 1. Not rich, not successful, not nice, just desirable. I hated him because I knew deep down he was doing something that I didn't understand, and I hated myself even more for not having the balls to learn it. He wasn't even good looking. He just had greasy hair and a smirk that said, I don't give a fuck about you, and I know shit that you'll never understand. In that charity, I fell hard for a girl named Angie, and she worked under me on my team. She looked up to me, although she was taller than me, but she was glorious to me in every way, her body, her look, her personality, her energy, her intelligence, and I wanted her so badly. I started taking her to lunch. I took her for midday lunchtime runs together through the park. I treated her like a queen. I protected her. I uplifted her. I gave her favors in work. I thought this would win her heart, that kindness and proximity would equal romance. But I still never made the right moves. I never led. And she found a boyfriend and I lost it. I started treating her like shit. I burned the relationship. She was confused and hurt, understandably, because I was like a wounded bull. I was ashamed. I was in pain. She thought I was a really good friend. I thought I was being strategic, but I was just being a coward. I was hiding behind niceness because I was too scared to lead. And when I look back now, I realized that I saw myself as inferior to everyone. Deep down, back then, I believed I was a piece of shit, and everything I did was fighting against that. I was never making ground. I was always drowning because I thought everyone was better than me. Everyone was more valuable than me. Every other man was more desirable than me. But I couldn't admit that, especially not to myself. So I numbed it with anger and drugs and partying. And Sydney life became a cycle of parties and drugs and disappointment. All the friends around me were all shit with women as well. We shared war stories, but never solutions. It was killing me. So what did I do? I ran away. I left. I took an amazing job that gave me great money in a new town. Small place, zero options. I didn't realize until I got there that it was statistically the fattest and ugliest town in Australia. Zero dating pool. What a dumb idea. It was a knee-jerk reaction to the pain of life. It didn't have any strategy or thought or vision behind it. But I told myself I'd make it work anyway. So I set up the best life I could there. I got fit, I made money, and I fell back into old, useless behavioral patterns with women. I joined a run club there, and there was lots of cool people in it, and I fell for a fit, sweet girl named Jodie. She was wholesome, hot, and girlfriend material. And again, I thought time and effort and being her running partner in the club would equal attraction. It didn't. She went for a guy who showed no interest in her at all, and that was the moment that I snapped. I finally admitted it. It was my fault. I needed to learn. I needed to understand. I needed to stop blaming and start studying. I Googled why women don't want nice guys and fell into the rabbit hole. I bought the old school Double Your Dating book by, I can't even remember his name. And I joined dodgy online forums that were around at that time. The internet really wasn't that amazing. Online dating help was taboo still. Dating apps were frowned upon and weird. There were very few men with dating coach profiles, and the ones that there were dodgy and pickup artists as hell. I downloaded trashy program videos. I started testing things out badly. I failed constantly, but I kept going. I knew now this wasn't luck. This was a skill, one I'd never learned, one I'd rejected because I thought it was wrong, because I believed that when women said, "We want nice men," because no one had ever taught me, because I thought being a good man would be enough, but it wasn't. So I joined the original Tinder and I made a terrible profile. I still didn't understand attraction. I got a few dates, but nothing stuck. Women disappeared, ghosted, lost interest, and I realized something dark. I didn't want one woman. I wanted all of them. I didn't just want love. I wanted revenge, to feel chosen, to feel powerful, to feel worshipped, because for 20 years, I hadn't been. And now I was hungry for every drop of validation I could squeeze out of a dating app. But then what happened is I eventually landed a 7 or 8 out of 10 who really liked me. She was into me and wanted to move fast. I thought, finally, I've made it. Excuse me. But what I walked into was a nightmare. The most toxic, volatile, soul-eroding relationship I've ever known. She was unstable, became even violent. She was manipulative. She was a wounded individual. But I was mid-30s now, late 30s, and I thought I was running out of time. I ignored red flag after red flag. There was gaslighting and screaming and disappearing acts, and like I said, violence and door slamming, and still I held on. I even proposed marriage. We got pregnant. I told myself this was just what love looked like for guys like me. In total denial, I didn't believe I could do better. I thought this chaos was the cost of admission. It spiraled fast. Her violence exploded. The relationship imploded. I lost everything. Family court for 3 years, 350K gone down the gurgler, life savings. She tried to take away my daughter. My business collapsed. I was drowning in debt. My reputation was shattered. I was now a single dad to a 3-year-old, fighting for custody, questioning every ounce of my worth. The shame of it all wrapped around my throat like a noose. I'd spent 2 decades chasing the feminine, and now I was standing in the rubble of my life, realizing I had never once understood the feminine. I stood in that storm and I saw one final truth. I did this. This was all me. I chose all of it. Every little decision, every little choice, every ignored instinct, every moment I betrayed myself, hoping to be chosen. I created this hell from the age of 9, and I had 2 options: blame the world and rot in bitterness, or take full responsibility and finally figure this out. I thought back to being 9, to that first fire in my chest for an older girl, and I realized this was the thread of my life. The one thing I wanted to master more than anything, and I'd failed repeatedly, spectacularly for decades. I decided in that moment that I will not die like this. So I threw myself into the fire. I started over books, psychology, boot camps, dodgy internet forums, research. I approached women in the street, in nightclubs, in daylight, in supermarkets at night. I went out alone for nights. I faced every fear that used to paralyze me. I fucked up a lot. I got rejected a lot. I mean, I approached thousands of women. I got laughed at, I got ignored, but every moment carved something deeper, a spine, a swagger, a sense of self. I was spending money on help, money that I didn't have on help. I burned my comfort zone to the ground. I approached women who were driving cars, who had stopped at red traffic lights and getting out and knocking on their windows and asking for numbers. I walked into restaurants to try and get dates from women that I saw eating in there. I approached groups. I had my life threatened by bikers. I went on over 300 first dates. I studied patterns. I mastered sexual communication. I didn't want luck. I wanted understanding. I wanted the skill. And slowly but surely, I cracked the code. I learned the game. Not the PUA bullshit, not the red pill poison that you've all been infected with. Real game, sexual communication, emotional clarity, vision, frame control, leadership. I learned how to text and how to flirt, how to disqualify, how to own the dance between masculine and feminine. I tested, tracked, I rewrote everything. I didn't just get good, I got dangerous. Women started chasing me, not because of muscles or money, but because of energy, because I finally knew how to lead. And then it happened. A very cute woman I met at my daughter's swimming class, gorgeous, sophisticated, young, pretty. And I started texting her. I got her number and I started texting her, and I decided to try something new. I sent an insane sexual line. It was bold, it was dirty, it was daring, it was off the charts. It was the kind of thing that would have terrified the old me. My heart was pounding as I pressed send, and I thought I was expecting either an explosion in anger or at least a ghosting or some kind of shame or to tell me off or to Channel 9 news helicopter to come in and shine a spotlight on me and say, look at this fucking fool doing this shit. But no, instead, she replied instantly and fell into my frame. She melted. And for the first time, I saw the truth with my own eyes that sexual polarity creates magic, that women want a man who isn't scared to claim them, and it changed everything. And that texting moment for me was the birthing of the 5-step texting framework that I teach guys. It wasn't just a fluke, it was a fucking revelation. And now I'm in a relationship that would make most divorced men cry. She initiates, she submits, she trusts every decision I make. She adjusts her life to align with me. She cooks, she nurtures, she feeds, she serves. She spends her own money on me. She craves me. She calls me daddy. She can't stop touching me. She praises me. She compliments me. She thanks me. She appreciates me verbally. She values me. She looks up to me. She adores me. She trusts me. She treats me with deep respect. She knows she's with a man who's chosen himself first. I don't have to perform for her. I lead her. I tell her the truth. Whatever it is that I want and need, I share with her. I enter conflict with her. I lead her. And that's why she follows me. That's why she stays. That's why she loves and adores me. And I used to think that I had to be nice, pleasing, polished. But now I know that's what makes women dry up and cheat. The people pleaser nice guy isn't safe to women. He's scary because he's got no spine, no edge, no sexual truth. He's afraid of putting himself out there and taking a risk, especially for her, and he's waiting for her to take all the risk. And that makes him terrifying to women. And that's why she never respected you. That's why she left. That's why women don't want a perfect man. They want a true one. They want one who owns his sexuality and his desires without shame. They want a man who stands in the fire without flinching. And that's what I became. That's what I teach. And that's why other wounded men trust me to help them because I never had to pretend that I was wounded. I was them. I just refused to stay that way. And the men like you who find me, they're not weak. They're wounded like I was. They're exhausted from pretending they're fine. They're exhausted from being passed over by women they know that they could love if only she saw them. They're exhausted from doing everything right, the gym, success, money, better clothes, and still feeling like a ghost in the room. These men come to me confused, ashamed, angry, but beneath it all, there's still a fire. There's a knowing that they were meant for more than this, that love isn't just some cosmic lottery that they missed. It's a skill, it's a language, it's a game you can learn, and that it's time that they finally fucking learned it. I don't help men become fake alphas. I help them strip the noise and find the man underneath the mess. The man who can say no without guilt. The one who leads without apology. The one who knows what he wants sexually, emotionally, spiritually, and has the spine to demand it or walk away. I've personally never been a people pleaser. That's why I was so angry. I've always known how to say no. That's why so many men who can't say no follow me, because they see the strength that they've buried and that they want, and they crave it, and they trust me to show them how to embody it for real, how to integrate that absolute masculine power. And here's the truth that no one tells you, man. Women don't fall in love with men who make them comfortable and safe. Women fall in love with men who make them feel, period. Depth, tension, fire, desire. Safety doesn't mean never upset her. It means she knows you won't break when she does. It means you can lead her through her chaos with a stillness that says, I've got this. I don't care how good your life looks on paper, man. If you can't make a woman melt with your presence, with your energy, with your personality, with your leadership, with your masculinity, you're not free. You're still performing. And deep down, you know it. So if you felt every word in this story like it was yours, if you've lived the friend zones, the near misses, the heartbreak, the rage, the late night scrolling, wondering what the fuck is wrong with you, crying, I want you to hear me loud and clear. Nothing's wrong with you. You were just never taught. But now someone finally can. And if you're ready to stop chasing love and start creating it, to stop waiting to be chosen and start choosing, to stop waiting for women to make it risk-free and safe for you, and for you to take the lead, and for you to take the action, and for you to do it and create what it is that you want in love with women and attraction and relationships, then you're in the right place. This has been my story, but man, it's also your future. Because if you've got the balls to walk through the fire and earn it, then well